Hey, did you know that showing up is half the battle? Most fat day gamers think they need some secret tactics, but all they need to do is show up more and build consistency, doing more week after week. I know it sounds crazy because we're so used to hearing about fancy techniques or strategies as the most important thing in day game, but it's not. And while that is important, I'm going to share 3 secrets with you today that's going to revolutionize the way you approach your day game journey by simply showing up, then showing up just a bit more next week, like you are weightlifting with progressive overload. Like and subscribe if you don't tolerate excuses like I do. Click the bell icon to read my community post too. I'm John Elite, and I'm the world's best day game coach. I have the most proven track record of getting students laid in the world for day game, even those who have been too lazy or unmotivated to show up consistently. I'm not trying to discriminate against fat people or be fat phobic. I'm trying to expose my students' behavior so they can break out of it. Lots of fat people in 2024 quit during the inflation. So what is the key to unlocking success in day game, even if you are fat? It's the power of just showing up consistently, then just a bit more every single week. Most fat day gamers can't even get out the door. They shut down due to cortisol, stress, and low self-esteem. But the trick is that habits can retrain this. Just showing up changes everything. So I'm going to share with you 3 secrets about the power of just showing up consistently and how you can use this to build momentum, retrain your brain, and finally start seeing results in your day game. And I know what you're probably thinking, but I don't have the energy or motivation to show up. Due to cortisol and being chubby with a double chin, filled with cortisol due to the winner and loser effect, like a scorecard of being a total fat loser. But again, I'm going to show you a great way you can start showing up consistently and get amazing results, even if you've struggled before being a fat piece of shit who acts like they are disabled during the inflation, being a total loser. So the first secret is fat day gamers have Cushing syndrome. The big idea here is too much cortisol due to the winner and loser effect. You win more, get more testosterone. Losers get cortisol due to the high cost of living and being losers. This is important because they are stress eating because they are massively depressed. Then they are depressed, so they stress eat even more. They have a double chin. You can measure how big their double chin is by inches. The bigger it is, the more weeks they will procrastinate. They are total losers. It's a cortisol ADHD scorecard. For example, there was a guy from Sri Lanka living in New Zealand. He is only 5 feet 5, so he's short, but is 195 pounds, which is super fat. Instead of focusing on losing weight first, he told me he would handle it himself, ignoring all my advice. This is part of the 4 traits of low self-esteem, the 3rd trait. That wrong decision will fail in 4 months. He wanted to take 3 months to handle it on his own. But he can't use the mind that caused the problem in the first place. The second secret is they are gaslighters. The main thing to understand here is that they tell you they will do something, then do the opposite, lowering their own self-esteem, gaslighting their own brain, and destroying mine. This means if you say you'll do something, you do it. So you raise your self-esteem and get to deposit into your emotional bank account. If you don't do it, you gaslight yourself, lying and confusing your brain. It's a withdrawal of self-esteem. You become more delusional, half-assed, make wrong decisions, fail in 4 months, and then quit. Take this black student from my 3 months to proficiency program. He lied, made excuses, and didn't show up to training. He knows about the other fat students. He gaslights himself by saying he'll do something, then gaslights me, destroying my brain with mental trauma. This lowers his self-esteem even more and makes him more delusional, less likely to take action because he can't do what he said he would do. The 3rd secret is they are all quitters. So many fat, double-chin students quit one by one. Total losers. They are mentally and physically disabled for day game due to inflation. This is key because inflation started in 2022 to 2024. They are disabled and will start to stonewall you. Stonewalling is a sociopath trait of the most sadistic types. When they can't handle stress or follow through on their words, they will ignore you, knowing they are total fucking losers with the lowest self-esteem. For example, a fat Asian student recently quit. He was 250 pounds, which is extremely heavy for a 23-year-old Gen Z virgin. Not by choice. He had 100 chances to do his drills and exercises over WhatsApp, sending me videos and audio, but failed 99 of them, not doing any of them correctly because he has low self-esteem and is delusional. He obviously quit afterward and started to stonewall me, just like another fat Indian student who is nearly 300 pounds and living in Australia, who can't hear his own mistakes at all due to delusions and talks way too fast because of cortisol stress hormones. Now, I know what you're thinking. It sounds good on paper. It sounds motivational, but you still can't do it because you are like an animal or zombie. In one ear, out the other, like an untrained animal. Well, the tricky thing is that if you actually showed up, your self-esteem bank account would go up. Then your delusions, half-assing voice, the bad decision voice, and the quitter voice will shut the fuck up. Through years of getting the toughest cases laid, including fat daygamers who couldn't show up consistently, I got a fat student in their 40s laid. Even a 52-year-old student got laid with 21-year-old stunners. I know what I'm talking about. This coaching program focuses on showing up, building habits and breaking the cycle of quitting. You can use this program to break through your laziness, show up more, and finally get laid. It's designed to reprogram your brain by building the habit of showing up. It's not just about tactics, it's about commitment and consistency. Every week, you can do more. If you can't, you do the same or even go lower until you can do more. Eventually, this will raise your self-esteem and win private victories until it quiets the low self-esteem voices. Then, you'll become high performance after a while. Unlike fat students who do next to nothing, shutting down like total fucking losers and quitting automatically because they are super fat. Because I was a frustrated Daygame coach watching fat students fail repeatedly at Daygame, trying to help fat Daygamers overcome their laziness and inconsistent efforts. I really wanted to help them show up consistently and break their patterns of failure so I wouldn't have to constantly watch them quit and fail again and again. I wanted to be able to build consistency in them so they could start getting results and I could finally get them laid and prove my methods work, even for the toughest cases. Of course, I did get a lot of fat Daygamers laid for Daygame, but still the recent ones too. The thing is, I was frustrated by their lack of discipline and self-motivation. That meant I wasn't able to build consistency in them, let alone finally get them laid and prove my methods work. I felt terrible because no matter what I did, they were sabotaging their own progress. I felt even worse because it was obvious they were losing faith in themselves. I felt like I wasn't making the impact I should be making as a coach. The problem was that fat Daygamers weren't following through, and their cortisol-induced laziness was wrecking their progress. This meant realizing that I couldn't rely on them to push themselves forward, which delayed any success they could have achieved and wasted my time as a coach. Then, as if by chance, something amazing happened. That's when I created the concept of just showing up, and everything changed. It was all about how showing up consistently was the key to getting fat Daygamers out of their own way. It was now crystal clear to me how to rewire their brain chemistry through daily practice and habit building because I saw I could finally get my students to build momentum by focusing on simple, repetitive actions. I also learned that relying on fancy tactics wasn't enough. You need to focus on showing up consistently. As a result, I started incorporating habit building drills into my Elite 60 program. After I did that, I started seeing fat Daygamers finally making progress. Suddenly, I was getting results, helping fat Daygamers lose weight and start getting laid. That's when I realized the secret to helping fat Daygamers overcome their laziness and inconsistent efforts was building small habits of consistency and letting results snowball. My plan was to start teaching fat Daygamers to just show up and build consistency. So I started building small, actionable steps into their daily routines. But I didn't stop there. I then created accountability systems to ensure they stuck to the plan. After that, I developed custom habit building drills and implemented them in Elite 60. But there was still a problem. Even after all that, things were still not perfect. Some students still resisted, struggling with their low self-esteem and cortisol issues. I ended up getting so frustrated that I decided to only focus on coachable fat Daygamers. Because I was a frustrated Daygame coach trying to help fat Daygamers show up and get consistent results. I really wanted to help fat Daygamers overcome their laziness so they wouldn't have to fail repeatedly due to lack of consistency. I hated to keep watching them quit and not make progress, and I could prove my coaching worked for even the toughest cases. Of course, I still got a lot of fat students laid before, but there could be so much more. The thing is, I was trying to get better results for my students this year during the inflation. That meant I hated to keep watching them quit and not make progress. To make things worse, I felt terrible because they were not following up consistently. I felt even worse about the situation because they were constantly self-sabotaging and not showing up. I felt like their lack of belief in themselves made it even worse. The problem was that I could do so much more for fat Daygamers since I got some of them laid, but not the rest. Their laziness and lack of discipline caused them to miss opportunities, which delayed their success and wasted my time as a coach for some of them. Then, as if by chance, something amazing happened. That's when I realized they needed to show up. Showing up consistently was the key to success. It was now crystal clear to me that building habits and consistency was the answer because I saw that creating small, actionable drills would ensure they showed up and did a bit more every single week. I also learned that they started gaining traction and building momentum week after week. You need to stop thinking short-term intensity for practice, but think long-term consistency instead. As a result, I taught them to show up daily for a shorter amount of time. Just make a change from the advice when they are doing drills. That one chance, even with less time, is more important than trying to do everything in fewer days with longer durations. After I did that, I started seeing fat Daygamers getting laid and staying consistent. Suddenly, I was helping fat Daygamers become disciplined by showing up regularly. That's when I realized that the secret to helping fat Daygamers show up and get consistent results was just showing up consistently, which they had been missing. My plan was to start teaching fat Daygamers to focus on showing up daily. So I started introducing habit-building practices to create consistency. Then, I started tracking their progress with accountability systems. After that, I implemented custom habit-building drills for fat daygamers. But there was still a problem. Some students still struggled with their self-esteem and cortisol issues. I ended up getting so frustrated that I decided to only focus on coachable fat daygamers. I called it Elite 60 Emotional Intelligence Rewiring Program. I thought if I could create something that would make it possible to rewire their daygame habits and push through their mental barriers, I'd be really happy. After helping even the laziest students start showing up and seeing results, I created Elite 60 Emotional Intelligence Rewiring Program. Elite 60 Emotional Intelligence Program has now helped transform fat daygamers. I started letting other fat daygamers use Elite 60 Emotional Intelligence. As a result, I was able to help countless fat daygamers break their cycle of failure and finally succeed, maybe even get laid from my coaching, even if they were older and fatter. After creating Elite 60, I was not only able to coach fat daygamers to success without wasting time on uncoachable students, but I've also been able to focus on students who could actually transform themselves and see results. Building a routine for showing up more will transform your daygame performance. And in the end, all of this means I'm now able to help fat daygamers lose weight and build consistency. I called it the Elite 60 Emotional Intelligence Rewiring Program. I thought if I could create something that would make it possible to rewire their daygame approach, that would be awesome. After months of testing and coaching them through their laziness, I perfected the program and created Elite 60 Emotional Intelligence Program. I can now get even the laziest fat students to show up and succeed. I then started to let other fat daygamers struggling with self-esteem and consistency use Elite 60 Emotional Intelligence Program. As a result, I was able to help countless fat daygamers finally build consistency and get laid. After creating Elite 60 Emotional Intelligence Rewiring Program, I was not only able to see even the most unmotivated daygamers succeed, but I've also been able to stop wasting time on uncoachable students because I can now filter out who is coachable and focus on those who will actually put in the work. In the end, this means I'm now able to focus on students who can transform themselves with my help and finally see results. And so what this is going to do is retrain your brain, boost your self-esteem, and get you laid, even if you've never been consistent before. As the world's best daygame coach, who has 642 laid in poll testimonials for daygame when white dating coaches had 0 to 3 or 0 this year for the 2024 inflation, taking your money and giving you nothing back. What I do is help you build your habits week after week until you can handle more. Assuming you are the fat loser or Latino fuck behavior, one track mind Latino. So what I've done is I've come up with a diet plan where you drink Soylent or Huel in the morning so you aren't hungry. Then you intermittent fast, assuming you aren't stuffing your fat face with snacks and spiking your insulin. You also work out daily with my workout plan. You also take certain supplements at night in a high dosage until you turn off the tap to your fat cortisol issues with your fat moon face ballooning up. If you click the link in the description, you can stop being a fat piece of shit. I honestly don't know how much longer I'll keep this coaching program available. Prices will probably go up because I am skeptical that fat daygamers can even do anything besides quit. I would think you are disabled, but if you don't want to be a low self-esteem stereotype, train with me with Elite Bundle 2. So click the link in the description to get it today while it's still available. I'm always here to help, and I can't tell you all the amazing results I've gotten for fat daygamers who constantly quit, just like you, who are struggling with showing up, staying committed, and pushing through their mental roadblocks. I also have Elite Access in case you have Elite 30 already, but today I'm talking about the coaching program that focuses on showing up, building habits, and breaking the cycle of quitting, which is amazing. I can't wait to see you on the inside. Have a great day and watch more of my videos.